there people, tonight we are looking at a stock which we have not looked at for a very long time. The stock is called Sndl Growers. Now Sndl Growers is of course a cannabis company. We can see in the past month or so we've seen a lot of decline in action for Sndl, things really not looking good. Now we do have a little bit of optimism as in the past week or so, whilst things have been red as you can see from this date here, which is of course the 13th, literally today, we've seen enough of a pullback to see this one actually even almost break past previous highs of yesterday, which doesn't sound significant, but we can see it is potentially the start of a bit of a reversal happening, where we can see the share price actually pick itself up. So of course, is this going to happen? Are we going to see the share price go back up? Well, nobody knows for sure, but what I can do is give you all of my personal opinions and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, I am not a financial advisor, so please do make sure to do your own research when looking into this stock or any single stock that we talk about on the channel. But yeah, we're going to be diving into this one, looking at first the price section. So if you may enjoy this video though, make sure to give it a like and subscribe to the channel as we talk about all kinds of stocks every single day. We make multiple videos per day, so there's literally something for everybody on this channel. Right then, let's jump into this one. So we're going to start off looking at the price action. Well, if we start off looking at today's action, we can see that obviously the stock is up. We started off at 9.30 on a price of about 90 cents, which is quite low. Then we dipped a little bit further into the high 88-cent range. Now from there we actually continued to dip a little bit lower before pulling ourselves up, past this point and actually reaching highs of the day, which are on parallel to where we are right now, around the 97-cent range. And again, so far we have actually dipped a bit further, and now we are back up to the 98-cent range once more, even the high 97-cent range. So things are moving in a very good way for Sndl. It's not the biggest gain that we are seeing. We're up by only 5.16%, but we are still up, and I think that is the most important thing to look at. This comes after a very red month for Sndl. Now a lot of the market has been down, we already know this, but Sndl has been taking a beating extra hard. If we can look at the price action over the past months, we can see red candlesticks all over the place. In fact, we've only had 1, 2 or 3 green candlesticks in about the past month or so, which really isn't good. Now again, today is a big green one. We can see the lows of the day were pretty low, a big wick sticking out the candle there towards the bottom side, but ultimately we have pulled ourselves up. Now this does indicate that there is a lot of buying pressure today, which is fantastic. And this definitely could point to the share price continuing to rise tomorrow, and honestly I do hope that is the case. But again, let's look at some of the important fundamentals of the company as well, because yes, the technicals are decent. We have now broken below the $1 range, which is not good at all. Again, if we can remain in this range, if we can remain around that point, around the $1 point, I think this is decent. Again, if we can break past it again, that would be fantastic, but that is now the new level of resistance that we are hitting, as we just aren't breaking that over the past 2 days. So hopefully we can just smash past it tomorrow. I would love to see that be the case. Anyway, important things to note about Sndl is that the short volume ratio is 37% according to Sndl. Again, the short volume 57.388 million. And the market volume is 155.5 million as well. So there's some important numbers that you might want to know about Sndl if you are looking into short interest. Now on top of that, we can have a quick look over here to this Motley Fool article, which was written back on the 30th of March. So quite some time ago, but ultimately not that long ago. Will Sndl Growers' $800 million bet pay off? Well, you could be asking, what are they talking about in this? We can see here that obviously now the Canadian cannabis producer has made another move which is likely to be polarizing. Sndl recently filed prospectus with the US SEC to sell up to $800 million worth of its stock. The company appears to be preparing to make a major wager on the global cannabis industry, but will Sndl's bet pay off? So ultimately this is a big deal. This really is a big deal. If we can look down here, we can see some other important piece of information. In its SEC filing, Sndl stated that it intends to use the net proceeds from the stock offering for its financing potential acquisitions or investments in equipment, facilities, assets, debt or equity, or other businesses, products or technologies as well. So again, a lot in there, but it basically tells us what they want to do. So ultimately, if we were to sum this one up, we can see this is basically for working capital and general corporate purposes. So this is good. So we have a lot of purposes for this cash basically. I think this is a good deal. Ultimately, it shows that Sndl are trying to expand. $800 million is a large amount of money, and we can see this is fantastic. Again, if they are working on potential acquisitions or other cannabis investments, this really is going to be a unique thing and a really innovative thing for the company, as right now it is still a relatively small company and we do need to work on growing the business if we do want to see better revenue going forwards. So ultimately, I'm very happy with how Sndl are doing this again. Some people are going to see it as polarizing, as the article did state. That is definitely true, and it is a polarizing move. Again, if it doesn't pay off, it may not be the best decision. If it does pay off, we could be looking at great things for Sndl long term. As Sndl is as at the moment, I do think it's a decent buy. I know we haven't seen too much growth recently, but ultimately I do believe this one is more of a long-term hold, because right now it's a relatively cheap company for the share price. The market cap isn't too large either. I mean, it's decent, but you know, there is a lot of room for improvement with this business. Now, what we are seeing here with this $800 million bet, if you will, is the fact that the company have acknowledged that there is room for improvement, and they are definitely trying to improve that. Again, if they are working on something like an acquisition of something along those lines, I think we are going to see big things for Sndl long term. I think this really could pay off. So I think Sndl right now is in a good position. I think we're not going to go much lower, or at least I hope we're not going to go much lower than the point that we are at right now. And again, if we can break past $1, that would be fantastic. Either way, I think at 97 cents, it's not a bad buy. I think previously we have seen the stock be way overvalued. If we look past over how this one has been moving in the past 6 months, we can basically see that the share price took a massive spike all the way up to $3, if not more, even up to $3.35. I think at that point the share price was definitely way overvalued, but now this one has been brought down to the real world. It is in more of a realistic potential range. I think where we are is good. So yes, we've seen a big sell-off from these highs. I don't think that's concerning. I think it was way overpriced where we were up there. I think now we're coming back to a reasonable price where a company like Sndl should be looking at the stock. So I'm very happy with this. I think long term it could pay off if the company does, do this bet and if things do work out for them. And I definitely do hope that they do, and I hope that Sndl has the best possible outcome with their, $800 million investment. And I just do wish Sndl all the best. So when we look at this industry, the cannabis industry, obviously Sndl is one of the more small players in this market sector. That's not a bad thing, it just gives us more room for growth. I think if you are invested in Sndl right now, it is a speculative play, as we just don't know how things really are going to play out for this company. But I think we're in a much better price than we previously were, which is good. I think the company is taking steps in the right direction, which again is fantastic. I think, you know what, maybe in 2 to 3 years' time, we could see Sndl becoming a very big company if things really do work out for them, as I hope they do. So let's see what does happen for Sndl. Again, it is a speculative play, but that's not necessarily a bad thing, as where there is the most risk, oftentimes there is the most reward. So again, be aware of the cons, be aware of the pros when you are doing your own research, and do make sure to do your own research. That was just my personal thoughts, guys. It's just what I personally believe about the company. So thank you for joining me for this update. I'll see you all again very soon. Goodbye until that episode.